I'd always been fascinated by the idea of Konza Techno City. Ever since its announcement back in 2008, I had followed every bit of news and updates about it. It was supposed to be the Silicon Valley of Africa, a hub for technology and innovation. The government had promised that it would create thousands of jobs and bring in billions of dollars in revenue. It was supposed to be the pride of Kenya, a symbol of progress and development. But now, standing in front of the abandoned buildings and empty streets of Konza Techno City, I couldn't help but feel a sense of disappointment and betrayal. I had believed in this project, invested my hopes and dreams in it, and now it seemed like all of it was for nothing. The idea of Konza Techno City was first proposed by former President Mwai Kibaki. He envisioned a city that would rival the technological advancements of developed countries. The estimated cost of the project was 3.8 billion Kenyan shillings, which was a huge sum for a developing country like Kenya. But the government assured us that it would be worth it, that it would bring in more than triple the investment in the long run. I remember attending the groundbreaking ceremony along with thousands of other Kenyans, with a sense of pride and excitement. We were told that this city would be completed within 5 years, and it would change the face of Kenya forever. But as the years went by, the progress on Konza Techno City was slow. There were rumors of corruption and mismanagement, but the government brushed them off as baseless allegations. And then, one day, all news about Konza Techno City stopped. It was like the project had vanished into thin air. As I walked through the deserted streets, I couldn't help but wonder what had happened to all the money that was invested in this project. The buildings were half constructed, with no signs of any work happening. It was like a ghost town, with only the wind and the occasional rustling of leaves breaking the silence. I decided to do some investigating of my own. I talked to some of the nearby villagers who told me that the construction of the city had stopped abruptly a few years ago. They said that there were some rumors of illegal activities happening within the project, but no one knew for sure. Determined to uncover the truth, I started digging deeper. I talked to some of the government officials who were involved in the project, but they refused to comment. I even tried to talk to the contractors and workers, but they were all too afraid to speak up. Finally, I came across a former employee of the project who agreed to talk to me on the condition of anonymity. He told me a shocking story of how the funds for Konza Techno City were embezzled by high-ranking government officials. They had siphoned off millions of dollars from the project and used it for their personal gain. He showed me documents and invoices that proved his claims. He also said that the construction had stopped because the money had run out, and the contractors had refused to continue working without being paid. I knew I had to do something about this. The people of Kenya deserved to know the truth about what had happened to their hard-earned money. I took all the evidence I had collected and went to the media. My story made headlines, and there was a public outcry for an investigation into the matter. The government tried to deny the allegations, but with the mounting evidence, they had no choice but to launch an investigation. It was a long and arduous process, but in the end, the truth came out. Several high-ranking officials were arrested, and the embezzled funds were recovered. The whole incident left a bitter taste in my mouth. I couldn't believe that such a grand project with so much potential had been ruined by greed and corruption. It was a lesson for all of us that we couldn't blindly trust our leaders and must hold them accountable for their actions. As for Konza Techno City, it was too late to salvage it. The damage had been done, and the project was abandoned. It stood as a reminder of the useless megaprojects in Kenya and the need for transparency and accountability in our government. But for me, it was a leçon learned. I had always been a dreamer, but now I knew that sometimes reality was far from what we imagined. And that's the mystery of life. You never know what lies beneath the surface, waiting to be uncovered. My name is Mwendi, and I live in Konza Techno City, a place that was once filled with hope and potential. It was meant to be the Silicon Valley of Africa, a hub for technology and innovation. But now, it's just a ghost town, crippled by the current government and all the previous leaderships that have failed to fund it. I still remember the day when the plans for Konza Techno City were announced. It was a time of excitement and optimism for our country. We were promised job opportunities. My name is Mwendi, and I live in Konza Techno City, a place that was once filled with hope and potential. It was meant to be the Silicon Valley of Africa, a hub for technology and innovation. But now, it's just a ghost town, crippled by the current government and all the previous leaderships that have failed to fund it. I still remember the day when the plans for Konza Techno City were announced. It was a time of excitement and optimism for our country. We were promised job opportunities, economic growth, and a better future for our children. But as the years went by, those promises faded away, and all we were left with was a deserted city. We have been waiting for President William Ruto to fulfill his promise of funding the mega project, but it seems like he has turned a blind eye to it. I can't help but wonder, when will Africa wake up and realize that our leaders are only interested in lining their own pockets instead of working for the betterment of our country? Just last week, Mr. Beast, a popular YouTuber, came to Kenya and showed an example of how a community can come together and make a positive change. He donated money to help build a wells for underprivileged children. But instead of being inspired by his act of kindness, our government saw it as competition. They were more concerned about their own egos than the welfare of our people. As I walk through the empty streets of Konza Techno City, I can't help but feel a sense of sadness and frustration. I see the abandoned buildings and the half-finished construction sites, a reminder of what could have been. The atmosphere is bleak, and there is a sense of hopelessness that hangs in the air. But amidst all this, there is a mystery that has been brewing in the city. People have been disappearing without a trace. At first, we thought they had left in search of better opportunities, but as more and more people went missing, we started to suspect foul play. I decided to take matters into my own hands and started investigating. I talked to the families of the missing people and found out that they had all received job offers from the government to work in Konza Techno City. But after they arrived, they were never heard from again. I dug deeper and found out that these job offers were fake, and the people behind it were a group of corrupt politicians who saw an opportunity to make money off of innocent people. They had been using the abandoned buildings in Konza Techno City as a cover-up for their illegal activities. I couldn't sit back and watch this injustice any longer. I gathered evidence and went to the authorities, but to my dismay, they were also involved in this corruption. I knew that. If I wanted to expose the truth, I had to take matters into my own hands by this video you watching. We reached out to Mr. Beast and told him about our situation. He was appalled by what he heard and decided to use his platform to shed light on the issue. With his help, city was beyond repair. He was to fund the city, but the city official demanded large amount of bribe that crippled Mr. Beast's curiosity, forcing him to only dig wells for children in Kenyan schools and villages. The government finally decided to fund the project, but it was too little, too late. And so, the once promising city remained a symbol of wasted potential and corruption. As I look back on everything that happened, I can't help but wonder, when will Africa wake up and realize that we need leaders who truly care about the progress of our continent? When will we learn from our mistakes and stop falling for empty promises? Only time will tell. Or we still following up on Putin's Black Jesus? Wake up, Africa, and unite, don't let them tell us nothing. Mohammed Gaddafi was right, but 10 years down the line, Libya is useless after letting USA bring self-proclaimed peace. Forever shine African unity. Subscribe to React Lord for more interesting documentaries. 24 is the year Africans must rise, because it's the end of lies.